There you see, as we're back at the Paladins World Championship. I'm Golden Boy, joined by Meta Pusher and Gore Miser as we get ready for our next matchup. And things just went dark in here. Don't touch my butt, okay? No one? All right, no one wants to reach for it? Thanks, Meta.
Gotcha, man.
You always have my back. You always have my back. And my butt. Okay, so we have a great matchup in store for you guys. It's Kanga Esports facing off against China Honor. Kanga, a fan favorite squad here. But first, let's take a look at that schedule and see where we are currently. If you didn't join us earlier today, shame on you. Had a great matchup there with the Latin American squad, Nocturnes Gaming, sweeping the North American team, Renegades. They're going to be awaiting the winner of this matchup in just a little bit. Very exciting stuff there. We also have that clash at the top, Ninjas in Pajamas, Virtus Pro. That game's going to be taking place today as well. So many great games. I'm pumped. I'm pumped. But got to talk about China Honor here because we haven't seen them. They were our first team that we saw day one, right? Or day zero? I don't know.
Day zero.
Right, because the doors didn't open officially, but yeah. So we saw China Honor first. And we knew that this was a bit of a hodgepodge team coming into this, a squad thrown together for this event. And Gore, do you think they have what it takes to move on here?
I'm hoping they do. At this point, it's going to be a little bit tougher for them because Kanga, I think, is going to be another next level team. I mean, coming in as favorites, they are a very strong squad. And what we saw from China Honor the other day really kind of spoke to me. You could see Mikasa playing on a different role than what he would normally play on his own team, but being kind of that DPS, still being the leader, bringing in a couple of the other members and kind of helping them rise up, but they just weren't able to have as many highlight moments. If they've been able to practice, kind of get themselves accustomed to what's going on, maybe even try to flex around their draft a little bit more, I think they might have a chance at taking some points, but I'm not sure if they can take the set.
I think China Honor's in a fairly good position. You know, we were kind of doubtful of how they were against Nocturnes. You know, that was such a defeating loss yesterday. But we just saw Nocturne just honestly dismantle Renegades too. So maybe this Chinese Honor team isn't that bad, and they were able to see the Chinese Dream Team try out some of their meta, some of their strats against
Na'Vi.
Na'Vi, yes, sorry. And so, you know, maybe they were able to glean some information off that and could maybe pull something out here. Yeah,
it's going to be tough though, without a doubt, because their opponents on the other side of the stage, Kanga Esports, are one of the more well-known and dominant teams in Paladins and dominant in the OCE region. And we did get an opportunity to catch up with Kanga Honor's, Kanga Honor, you hear me? Kanga Esports' peers and get their thoughts on this powerhouse Australian squad.
As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to Kanga, probably the biggest threat is DiGeDoG, by far. Like he's a mile above the rest in terms of like just overall skill. He is just so good, and everything that he does is just perfect.
Yeah. I'd say the biggest threat on Kanga right now would have to be Kronicx. He's very reliable, he does a lot of damage, and he's always in your face. So yeah, I'd watch out for him. I think Soch would probably agree with that one.
Yeah, I actually do. He can always bring a situation back, even when it looks unwinnable for Kanga.
He's brought out a lot of clutch plays lately, so yeah, definitely someone to keep their eyes on.
Always good to hear from the peers, from their competitors over down under, about how this squad performs. And Kanga Honor again, I did it because we made the joke in the middle of in the video. I made the joke and now it's in my brain. I swear to God, their name's not Kanga Honor, people. It's Kanga Esports. But that is the next. That is like the level up, right? Like that's it. You know, that's like they're Super Saiyan Blue. They become Kanga Honor.
If they beat China Honor, they become Kanga Honor. Okay. They absorb them.
Oh, I'll take it. All right, Kanga Esports. Here's the roster. You got Haydz, Joelz, Kronicx, DiGeDoG, and joshkent. This is a formidable squad, Meta. I want to get your thoughts. Any player in particular that you're a fan of on this team?
Honestly, Haydz. If I had to pick somebody, he's that silent, you know, that rock that they really rely on to always play the tanks. We see a lot of flexibility from the other four guys, but Haydz is always there on that front line holding things down for them.
For me, I mean, DiGeDoG. He was someone, I had a star next to his name when I wrote down the rosters after the way they played last time, because even though it didn't quite go the way they had wanted to, and you even heard it in the video, he was a phenomenal player. He showed up what he could do in that, and when you're a losing team and your name can still stand out, that's always impressive. So coming into this kind of matchup, where I'm going to say they're a little bit more favored, I think that they could potentially show us exactly why everyone else is always a big Kanga fan.
And you know, we saw a slightly underwhelming performance from them versus NIP yesterday, but those were close games, and NIP is a fantastic team. So I expect Kanga to take that, learn from it, and come out swinging today. These guys, I mean, they're not used to losing, and I think they took a lot from that loss. And look, I mean, I expect them to win this set.
That was a tough matchup, right? Overall, you had NIP who, I mean, Perdo was going off, Lazy was going off.
Yeah.
There's just some things that, you know, at times you just cannot account for. And meanwhile, Kanga, they were just, I don't know, they just seemed a little confused and overall just out of place, which was, you know, a tad sad there. But anyway, so Kanga, they're going to go in with the ban on Ice Mines, and China Honor, they're going to get rid of Splitstone Quarry. Again, I think they're still fearing Splitstone from seeing it played a couple times and maybe just not being as comfortable.
Well, this is interesting to me because we saw Kanga go to Ice Mines Game 1 against NIP yesterday. So we know it's a map they're very confident on against the top team. So I wonder if the Shiny team has some strats that Kanga maybe not able to hang with. The Splitstone ban, I think that might just be because the Chinese teams in China, they play on a client that's 4 or 5 patches behind, so they've got less time to practice on the newest map in the realm.
And that's always one of those maps, especially with the way things is going. And if what B said earlier was true, a lot of these teams have been practicing those maps like the Splitstone that you don't see as often to try and make it so that is a map they can use to their advantage. So getting that out of the pool gives you not like a big step up, but it at least puts you on a level playing field.
Bright Marsh is going to be our first map chosen here, and I believe Kanga, that will be their pick.
Yeah,
that they're the higher seed. That you see the members, though. China Honor, you know, because I don't want to say Kanga Honor again.
China Esports.
China Esports. You know.
I'm just trying to throw you off now.
You know, you're a horrible person, Meta. You are a horrible person. There's Kanga Esports, and I'm not going to lie to you right there. I nearly said it. I nearly said it, but all right, Kanga Esports versus China Honor. It's time to go into the picks and bans, the Champions Draft, and let's see what the first bans are going to be. Kanga gets that first pick. What are they going to go with here? Drum roll, please. Bomb King. Bye-bye.
I like this. I mean, when your first pick, if you want the Bomb King, I feel like that's something you could maybe leave open, either force the other team to ban it or you can just grab it up yourself. But I think this is because we've been seeing a lot more Buck play, Bomb King, he's still going to be very potent on the map, but it's just not enough for you to change your plan going into this. You're like, we already know what we want. We don't need that blaster. We can just go ahead and kind of put him away.
Yeah, Kanga going with the rock-solid Buck for their first pick, and Honor picking up their 2 front lines, the Fernando and the Torvald. Really strong having the brand on the Fernando, able to apply 80% cauterize at round 1, which, I mean, you're not going to be able to get it with your items.
I bring destruction to yours.
Genos is going to be a lock for Kanga here.
Go ahead. Keep talking while you can.
And Ruckus.
Yeah, and the Ruckus. Both of them are, I think, just, I mean, Ruckus, we've already seen what he can do. Like, it's been showcased throughout these last few days. Even today, it's already been showcased for us what exactly Ruckus can bring. And there's a lot of places on Bright Marsh that he has a good strength, being able to kind of hop up, have that ledge, and get a height advantage for himself. And of course, Genos just being able to keep the Buck a little bit healthier as well as the rest of the team.
I'm noticing a clear difference in Kanga and China Honor's draft right here. Kanga putting heavy emphasis on the ability to take the high ground. They have the Ruckus and the Buck, whereas China Honor has no way to get up onto that lip or any of the roofs that you're able to.
Talus and Inara lock for those last 2 picks. Let's see what China Honor decides to go with here, and that's going to be the Shaolin.
I mean, I like both these drafts. They're fairly standard when you look at them overall. And if I'm just saying 2 standard drafts between these 2 teams, I got to give it to Kanga in this map.
Yeah, this is definitely looking strong for Kanga. I do like the Shaolin pick just because, like, normally it's always, well, why not pick Grover? But I think Shaolin's just a little bit stronger for Bright Marsh, so I'm interested to see how exactly China Honor is going to be able to handle this one around here. I think it's just a little bit stronger.
All right, well, it's do or die for both of these teams here. China Honor needs a win, and Kanga has to establish themselves as one of the top teams here at the Paladins World Championship. Let's send it over to your casters and get this bad boy rolling.
Thanks, Golden Boy. Oh my god, I'm back again. I'm joined by a brand new face. It's Hi-Rez Pretty Hair.
The two-time.
I might as well be
Back to
Hi-Rez.
back.
I think I'm Hi-Rez Hair Envy at this point. Last year, on this very
You were
stage,
once with me.
I was with you.
You were once a brother
And
of the
now
flow.
I am against you, and you do have a little bit of the higher ground there as well. What are you thinking of this draft then, coming out on both these teams? We're on a bright march. It's a relatively standard map, but what are we thinking about picks?
I gotta say, Shaolin is something to me that is just standing out from these Chinese drafts in general. For better or for worse, this is something that they are looking to. And you gotta say, it's not something that's been popular recently, but you look at what Bonker did with it yesterday, and whether it's just Bonker being Bonker at HRX, we can't really say, because he just went off with it. And against Kanga,
Match made in heaven.
this is something that hopefully, as a result of yesterday, they're a little bit more prepared to deal with today.
Pretty standard legendaries across the board. Joelz gone with the aerial assault rockets here just to get on the high ground. For Kanga, nothing unusual for China Honor to start things off. And
It's kind of
I'm
interesting for here.
interested to see. You got some high ground. Flux Generator has the benefit of giving you the extra shield, but if you can get up onto the elevation, you can start, especially fragging out Torvald. And I feel that's where the value is. Look at Josh, very cautious.
Definitely stylistic choice here, and he's playing it to that strength right up to the high ground, but it costs you 2 charges nowadays, Ruckus. Not the legs he used to have under him. China Honor completely grouped up and being punished for it. 2 kills already falling in favor, make it 3 for Kanga.
Oh no, and as soon as you get an R in the mix there as well, Haydz picks up a triple kill. joshkent with 1 more. All of China Honor fall down, and you just allow the Stone Warden to walk into you. She places down the Waters field. It's a lot of disruption, a lot of slowing.
Yeah.
Kanga Esports were funneling their opposition
It's
there.
not even like clumping is going to be super dangerous against this Kanga Esports roster. The only splash they've got is the rockets from Ruckus. While they did connect, it was literally just a shred. It's for going through this guy, and then the next guy after him, and after that, and after that. China Honor, this composition is designed to do that a little bit, and that's what scares me, is if they're clumping up to try and operate near and around this Grok Totem to get the Shaolin, or keep the Shaolin safe, rather. I mean, we've already seen how it plays out once. Hopefully they can make a couple of adjustments here, find a different result.
With that in mind, Kanga Esports do have the first capture of the game. We are 2 minutes in, 2 minutes on the clock, and Kanga Esports have reached 50% of the payload push through. China Honor are using some natural map cover to provide themselves with a bit of a buffer, but Talus is pushing into the backline, looking for the damage. Oh my goodness, the kills are flying already. Shaolin under heavy fire, tries to go on a planner, but Joelz runs them down. The headshots hit through. Joelz with a triple kill, and nobody on China Honor remains.
It's just kind of like a juke the left, hit him with the right sort of situation happening for Kanga right now. It was a nice pump fake from joshkent as he was going to take that fight, but it ends up being Joelz. Kanga going to push this one through 2-0. Triple kill, 15 streak. One of the more dominant teams at this LAN. I can't say I'm shocked thus far.
No, it seems to be playing out to, I think, a lot of people's expectations. So far, I am startled as to how good Kanga's target swapping is. That seems to be what's really giving them the edge right now. The coordinated focus, because there's not a great deal of burst on their team. The burst really comes from joshkent, and that's only a maximum of 800 body shot, 1200 headshot. It's just the targeted and focused fire.
Just 1 kill for the China Honor. DiGeDoG on the Talus did take a spill one time, and you and I, we sat down, we watched Kanga scream, not this Chinese team, but the China Dream team, and we noted that actually about their comms, that is pretty much the entirety. So when they're in spawn, they're going to give out a general game plan. Everyone's going to get on the same page, but beyond that, it's target calling. They all know what they're there to do, and that's kind of Paladins. It's so fast, it's so instinctual, and it's very mechanical.
Well, the objective then, China Honor trying to lock things down through time, and Space finds one. DiGeDoG picks up a second. Joelz with a double kill out of the Hexafire. Can they find the triple? Shaolin has been knocked off the map there. The missile slammed down, and Joelz is unstoppable on a 20 streak.
A lot of ultimates used there for Kanga, but still some in the tank. They didn't use the Buck Wild, and there Nara Seismic Crash is about to come up. China Honor just, they didn't get what they needed for their ultimates. They don't have great team fighting ultimates. They don't have anything that's going to come out that's going to smack you in the face. It's going to get any kills. The most dangerous ultimate they have is, I guess, Heat Haze from Shaolin. But that is just something that is going to enable him to make plays. It's not something like a Hexafire that's, I'm just going to point at you and you're going to die.
I was also very surprised to see the Tempest from Grok come out quite so early into that fight. It just seems like it was unnecessary. That's the kind of, I'm going to save everybody and then we're going to kind of swap the momentum to us and engage ultimate rather than we're going to initiate the initial fight with this. So China Honor, they're now pitted in. Kanga Esports are up 3-0. Can you see a way for China Honor to be able to defend here at this point?
No, I'm going to be honest with you. I think right now Kanga is showing us that whether it's this draft, and maybe it is this draft, China Honor going with a couple of wonky things, but for the most part, it feels like they kind of got what they wanted. Maybe the Bomb King, that was a priority ban for Kanga. And as this push rolls forward to the conversion and probably the completion of game number 1, China Honor will have to probably make some type of adjustment, whether it comes in the draft, because this isn't a bad draft, don't get me wrong, but it might be just the way they are playing it that isn't good.
Oh my goodness, seismic crash though, setting up the final few kills. Payload pushing towards convergence. joshkent with 2. joshkent with a triple kill here for Kanga Esports. And that's the payload rolling through. Show me some cheers for the Aussie boys in the crowd there as well. Kanga Esports take game 1 4-0.
Fan favorite. Obviously, they're going to have some supporters no matter where they go in the world. And that just kind of speaks to the character of these guys. Very friendly, happy to be here. They're easy to talk to, easy to be friends with. They're here to have fun, but they're also here to win. They do tend to have decent performances. They've yet to crack a finals of a major international LAN, but they'll probably be looking with their sights set there. They make it to about the semifinals, almost out of groups, depending on the format of the LAN every time. But I think there could be their year.
It may very well be if they can solidify some of the deficit from earlier. Let's take a look at some of the replays coming in from Joelz on Ruckus to start things off. Player of the match, in my opinion. A double kill to start there and a triple kill as well, hammering it home multiple times during this game with great Hexafire positioning and also great target swapping.
I want to feel like, you know, these Hexafires that I've been seeing this tournament, sometimes they just get off. Like, no one looked at him the entirety of that channel, and that's not an easy ultimate to get off and complete the cast of, especially not being under pressure. 9-0 KD there, but when we're considering eliminations, 28-0 for Joelz. There was only 1 death in the first round. That was DiGeDoG, the dirty feeder right there on Talus, and he cleaned it up from there on out.
Pretty much pretty smooth sailing, and now we have to wonder what China Honor is going to be able to pull out to be able to try and mount a comeback. Kanga Esports look clean, they look collected, they are very much playing their game. Is there anything that you'd like to see? You mentioned it is draft, is it execution? What's your angle for this?
My angle is they pick up this tour ball, and it's something that I think both Chinese teams are sort of leaning on, but they don't have anything to it. They didn't really have much to enable with it. I mean, Shaolin is fine, but the reason I don't like the Shaolin tour ball is because it takes so long to draw every arrow. Unless you have one queued up, ready to go the second you get protection, you're only getting 1 arrow off during that bubble, and you're not getting a kill with that damage.
Right, you need something which is more consistent or more rapid fire.
They ran a ton of Xin. I mean, maybe they could look to Xin.
Xin might be one of the answers.
You were hoping for it, I remember.
I was hoping
when
for
we were
Xin. I was
drafting.
looking for it, but there wasn't a great deal of range damage and a lot of range burst in their composition.
Yeah,
so it's true. It's true. Who knows? The Shaolin pick may actually come back to be something which is very advantageous on a different map as well. Bright Marsh is close quarters. Shaolin struggles with that to a degree. You've got a lot of places that you can impale people, but if you get pressured, where are you going to run to?
Exactly that, and that's another reason Xin may have worked out better for them, is that you saw so many times China Honor was just kind of clumped up in a corner. There wasn't much burst damage to punish it, but Kanga just had the target calling and the DPS just to chew through them at a rapid rate. Xin, the way he plays, he's going to be moving, he's going to be out on the battlefield, he's going to force at least 1, 2 Kanga heads to at least turn away from the majority of that roster and force a target swap. I mean, can you even really call it a target swap when I shoot through you, you die, and then there's just somebody else behind you and I keep shooting in the same space? Kanga, they're going to take that easily for
Map number 2 will be Frog Isle then, and pulling back to something you said, making Kanga heads turn is something that I think that really needs to be taken advantage of here. The focus and coordination, the fact that it was Talus and Ruckus and Giannos focusing all down one target with Void Grip was so uniform from Kanga. If you can make at least one person turn away, maybe there's a chance.
Right, was there ever a time they weren't just shooting like all at this clump, and then it was like all over? It was just all at one area of the map. I never saw anyone get flanked.
You sure it's not just one player and they got every mouse like attached with you know, some rulers or in a multi-box rig down? They're just like, I'm gonna shoot you, shoot
some
you,
rulers.
shoot
There
you.
you go. Back into the picks and bans here for game number 2 on Frog Isle. Gonna be a Bomb King ban away. Clearly high priority for both of these teams. Kanga as well banned this out. Same 2 bans, BK, Makoa. Standard for this tournament, safe priority picks that will be taken off the table, and the draft will mirror game 1s, at least for now.
Buck selected first, then Kanga to respond previously. You see some frontline taking this early. Kanga were favoring Ruckus beforehand, but I wonder if they have more favor with Fernando on a map like this specifically. Janus has often also been a popular early pick as well. See what they go down for.
Haven't made up their minds just yet. Looking at Torvald, that was a pretty high
It is
priority.
open on Frog Isle as well, and that is a dangerous combo.
Yeah, and it can enable the Talus, which they ran in game number 1. Also, the Xin is definitely something to look out for this game. China Honor, they may take it away, but Kanga did run this previously in their sets. joshkent taking that one, running, I believe it was Retaliate. Maybe that was in the scrim. I know we watched a scrim here with Kanga.
He's definitely running a Retaliations in there as well.
Smolder has been pretty. We've seen all. Actually, I think we've seen all 3 Xin legendaries. So you never really know. Kind of varies player to player, and it also depends heavily on what they're up against to what legendary they're actually going to select for that character.
You know, as China Honor Lock and Grok, I just want to touch on the fact that we've seen a huge amount of variety in this tournament so far.
Yeah.
Not just in legendaries, the only champions out of our entire available roster, with Vivian banned from competitive play on account of being too new on patch 63, we've only not seen Victor and Willow. Every other champion has seen playtime.
You're not wrong. Aldamba locked in for Kanga Esports. Genos and Grok went the way of China Honor. More sustained this time around. There's a couple of tanks left on the board. They could look to snag the, of course, Ruckus. But we're pretty deep into the frontliner pool at this point. They could go for the Inara as well, but they'd be pretty light on damage if they did that.
I would like to see the solo Inara coming through from China Honor right now. They've locked in a Drogo's. Inara would be the single frontline sustain pick, which you'd expect, and there it is. This is an interesting draft. This is very much damage heavy. The Grok should be able to supplement Inara on the objective to be able to survive the early game quite well. And there is the Drogo's Dragon Punch to be able to deal with maybe a Torvald or something. How Kanga respond with that last counter pick open?
Production's telling me it's spicy, and
Ghost Feather reporting.
you gotta wonder where it's gonna go. It's the Ghost Feather. They said they were hovering. Why didn't you hover it on the screen then? Willow was actually being hovered. And I mean, not an unviable pick by any means, especially against Inara. Willow actually does very well.
Especially against
like
the Grok as well.
Yeah.
Dead Zone goes out as soon as Totem goes down, and you just deny that healing. But Strix will be the favor here, and I'm looking forward to seeing the disruption that comes through. Gonna have a tough time, I think, dealing with the Buck if Buck can actually close the gap towards Strix. But if Strix can maintain distance, Flashbang is a great either engagement tool or counter engagement tool. It's a mini Midnight.
It's going to be exactly that, able to not only provide himself with some self-peel to deal with this Buck, which is, I assume, to be joshkent playing this Strix, of course, as he did play yesterday. The primary threat on the board for him right now is the Buck to deal with that. They have potential, slight potential, for some wombo combos with the Talus, not in the same vein as, of course, Talus Genos, but just Talus into a shot from Strix. I mean, if you can line up the headshot, that's great. That's 1,800 damage in the books.
With that draft in mind, I've got to ask Nick, who give the edge to here on Frog Isle as we get through into game?
Definitely Kanga.
Kanga?
Definitely Kanga. I think the solo front line is going to be very hard to pull off. The Drogos will be interesting. It's done fairly well in this tournament, but that's Evil Eye. He runs it extremely well on this map in particular. It always sticks out in my mind. And there is a very dangerous player playing Strix in this game, and that is, of course, any time that Pidan shows his face on the Drogos, he is under immense danger.
Good question as well. How do you feel about Treacherous Ground and Nara as a solo frontline here?
It's great. You know, you got to catch out. If you catch, you know, you can say it counters one of the other better. Fernando, Ruckus, they have a little bit more ability than the other frontliners, but anyone that you catch in the center of Treacherous Ground is kind of dead.
Very much so, and I would like to see maybe even Talus caught there as well, but DiGeDoG's already picked up first blood. Rex Spray goes down. Rune of Travel could be used here to get back to safety if necessary. I don't think it's even being placed down, though, and DiGeDoG's just harassing, making sure that China Honor can't look towards.
Confused.
There's the rune, here's the engagement. China Honor being so cautious, but DiGeDoG goes in, frags out one, gets a double kill, and Kanga is starting to take some capture control, rising upwards of 33%.
Interesting choices just in playstyle from China Honor. They send the Inara up to flank joshkent, and I thought it was Buck, because, you know, that's always the play that we see. We'll see Buck and maybe +1 push up and around that statue. But being the only frontliner for China Honor, that's a kind of a risky play to do, and it doesn't work out for them. So as a result, Kanga with 90% on the point.
DiGeDoG able to barely survive. Kanga Honor will tick it. Kanga Esports will tick it over. Excuse me. We do have the first capture of the game going in 1:51. Not the fastest capture we've seen so far, but a pretty safe and wholehearted one for Kanga. Now China Honor trying to find a way to regroup, but they keep on meeting their match with fireballs apiece.
They'll be safe for now. Kanga's trying to push one of the harder corners to break on Frogile, especially against this pressure from Vucelot joGoS. The flare burning, so they know exactly where the joGoS is. Trying to keep him out of line of sight as best they can for now. 2 rockets, one will connect, one won't. joshkent opens things up, one frontliner down, but that's all that lies in front of them. China Honor on the back foot.
Kanga Esports are starting to stack up their ultimates as well. They just keep on coming through. Maldamba, Talos has true power, Strix with a flashbang. But I don't know if any of those will even be necessary here, as China Honor are yet to formulate a strong defense. They've got a couple of seconds to regroup before the payload will push through to the last point. Inara's going to move in, try and contest that. The impact went down, but the shred from Talos is just too much to deal with.
She engages without any other threats on the board, and so Kanga are going to easily have plenty of time to shred her down. And this is not exactly the same vein, but it's almost the same philosophy of what was going wrong in the previous game. Kanga only have one thing to shoot.
And that was the joGoS and Dragon Punch taken out by a collateral fireball. Scorch, bonus damage coming into play. Kanga got to be feeling very comfortable right now. They're up 2-0, it's under 4 minutes. They've got all their ultimates on the board, but let's check out DiGeDoG to see how he kicked things off with this overdrive rampage here, picking up 2 fast kills.
Jeez. That is really, really dangerous stuff. And that is the play that you would expect, right? That is pretty much the most vanilla play for a flanker on Frogiles. They're going to push up that left side, and that's what I was expecting to see from Buck, but that wasn't. It was Inara just waddling her way up those stairs. And I'm like, you're not going to catch joshkent out like that. He's going to see you coming. He's going to have plenty of time to adjust to that. And Inara did end up falling down in the backline again. 1 kill comes through. I believe that was on the Kronicx for Dodge.
This time around, they know that DiGeDoG is coming. Dread Serpent kicks things off through time and space.
Where is she going?
Gets nobody. Inara runs into the mix of enemies and gets chewed through very quickly. And now DiGeDoG is just pushing up, making use of the route of travel as Haydz picks up a double kill. Can they find a third? DiGeDoG cleans up Hanyuyu, and the rampage continues through. Oh, true power into the base as well. The route of travel goes down,
bastard.
and DiGeDoG does.
He didn't even have his rune down.
He even does end up perishing. It's Forcian bargain, so it resets, of course, when it comes to the end of the cooldown, but it just doesn't matter at this point. Kanga Esports are putting on a clinic, and even though they're throwing themselves at the wall, they're getting a couple of deaths, they're buying time for the capture, which rolls through.
For a hyper beam player, haven't seen it yet. Of course, that is Torvald's ultimate, providing a large cylindrical column of knockback, both vertical and horizontal. And Inara has just been ruthlessly trying to push joshkent out of these situations. And Vox, again, not an unconventional, not a weird approach to the introductory fight of this round, but it just feels like the communication might not be there for China Honor. We've got Inara pushing out when the rest of the team is being cut off and forced back.
So far, Kanga Esports trying to chase down this Buck. Last
go for the no-scope.
The no-scope connects.
Hit the emote. Hit the emote. There was literally a 360 no-scope emote, and I mean,
joshkent is too focused.
If there was ever a situation.
We'll let him have a spray. But no emotes. Emotes are a little bit too far there. And pushing up on the high ground now, Haydz as well, just forcing everybody out. The big, bulky, tanky Fernando. Kate would have done it. Kate emotes, I think. I've seen some emote compilations come out of that player, actually.
Yeah, I mean, Kate, he commits to his emotes. He'll b-boy dance on the payload with Shaolin until he literally dies. And Kanga looking to close out game 2 here. Payload inches from conversion, but a little bit of a contest.
Does come through. Inara, though, on the objective, does stay sat down. Immortal from Fernando. Make sure that everybody stays alive. And Kanga Esports pull out another 4-0, looking cool, calm, collected. Cucumberish. Potentially more words beginning with C.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've just got to find one more before they move on to actually face Nocturnes in the losers semifinals of Group A. Frankly, that's going to be a good matchup, but what worries me if we do get there is joshkent, and these guys can run a lot of those compositions that dismantled Nocturnes yesterday. He played great on the Strix in this game. A little bit of a contest there on Hecate. There was the no-scope. He tried, I think, 3 times. You know, the highlight reel always doesn't show those types of things. Big shot on the joGoS here in the back. Clean game again from Kanga.
Just continuing to keep on pressuring from a distance. I love that as well. The hyper beam trap joGoS in the air, and it's just clay pigeon shooting for your Strix there at the back of the map. 4-1-5, only 1 death on the board for the sniper on a map like Frogile.
When did
Very
he die?
impressive
I don't remember that.
Right at the beginning, actually. It was in the first round. I think maybe even to the Inara potentially.
No, he did not. I don't think he died to that Inara. I'm like 99% sure he didn't because I remember it was actually Kronicx picked him up in the back line on the Maltamba. Got the killing blow for that. And just not a lot of fruitful endeavors. It's just a weird way to play. When you have one frontliner to send it off, you know, into the great beyond.
And it's treacherous ground Inara. You can kind of make sense of that if you're trying to lock down champions like maybe even a Kinessa that have a big mobility.
Like, it makes sense, but with two frontliners, with somebody else babysitting the kids, you know?
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of flank Inara actually come out, especially during console games on specific maps because of how dangerous treacherous ground can be. But I got to agree with you, it doesn't seem like the plan was formulated well enough to deal with what Kanga were coming and packing in that game on Frog Isle. China Honor, though, they do have one more chance to try and pull this set back and get a game victory. They've got another map choice coming up. They've got a choice of first pick or second pick. How's this one got to go? What differences do we need to see?
Well, the bans have been same both of those times. So if I'm China Honor, I'm switching it up. I'm switching something up. It's not working clearly. Let either Bomb King or Makoa through. If you can get it first pick, great. Try something new. Try and force the issue on this side of the board.
Kanga overrated there, apparently. We see we've got some fans in the crowd.
She's wearing a Kanga jersey, too.
Therefore,
conflicted. It makes no sense.
I think they know him personally, and we can just see as well the players getting set up for the next game. Map selection coming through shortly, folks. And Kanga do not look phased. They just look, honestly, like they did actually when we were watching that scrim with them versus China Dream beforehand. They look very, very, I want to say calm and casual here as well. And oh no.
I've got mine too.
Oh yeah? You've got yours?
Got a couple of these going on.
It's got your name on it. Look at that.
I know.
Where can I get that?
Where can you get these? I don't think you can get them anymore. They were selling them just like for like a little bit.
I have to steal that.
A, it's a damn good looking jersey.
Oh yeah.
B, and probably more importantly, it's custom.
It certainly is.
It's got the boy. It's got the kid. It's got the name on there.
It's got pretty hair written all over it. I can tell it's yours.
Indeed, and this set seems to have Kanga written all over it. They're up 2-0. It's the best of 5, so one more, and they'll be done.
Can't argue there. They've been bouncing from victory to victory so far. 2 4-0s in a row. They can pull off the hat trick.
You know what? If I was a betting man, I would say they could. And we're going to get into map number 3 very soon here. It's Serpent Beach. Pretty different style than what we've seen before. And this is probably the map to switch it up because the high ground actually matters here. Didn't really on Bright Mars. There actually is none on Frog Isle.
Does it matter enough to pick Willow?
I
just want the variety at this point. Maybe if you're Kanga. China Honor,
I think Kanga spices it up this game, personally.
More Sky?
I don't know about Sky. I'd like to see the Willow.
I would love to see the Willow.
And it's not bad if like it's Stone Keep, it's Split Stone Quarry, and it's Serpent Beach, that no troll, you can pick it out. And it's going to do work for you because of the high ground, and Willow can just fly constantly. She's a very quick, not only quick to charge ultimate, and you can't get it twisted. Like, some champions just are so good at dealing consistent damage. Some champions just have quick charging ultimates, and Willow is kind of fighting that war on 2 fronts.
Honor going for the second pick here then. Kanga take the first pick, first ban. I like the idea of counterplay. The Xin ban, though, talk me through what's going on here.
I mean, we haven't seen it today, but this is something we know that China Honor pulled out, I think, in every game of their preliminary set. So the Bomb King will sneak through. Kanga will take Buck, so that will leave Bomb King open if China Honor desires it.
Do you snap it up? Previously, it was we've seen a lot of frontline emphasis from the second pick now. Last game for Kanga, it was Fernando. It was Torvald as well. Fernando snapped up by China Honor here so far. How will they enable this frontliner? What kind of core will they be building for their lineup?
Well, Fernando by himself brings obviously that decent amount of anti-heal. A little bit of pressure, he can cleave down groups of enemies, and they've taken the enablers. It would seem Torvald will go their way as well.
What could go wrong?
But Xin being banned, I don't know if it's. I want to say it's pretty smart from Kanga because they know that was something they went to a lot early. They hadn't shown it yet, so it was probably just being saved in the back pocket for later. But it looks like DiGeDoG, Mr. Dylan, will get his king.
Alongside Genos as well. Kanga's draft is scary right now. They've got a fantastic fragger on Bomb King. They've got a great support that enables Buck very, very easily. Getting everything they want so far.
Yeah.
With China Honor drafting a relatively strong core and a very reliable core by themselves. It's what goes in for damage that I'm concerned about, and I'm not sure Grok's the one.
He's going to just promote more clumping, I think, from this China Honor squad. Zin was the perfect man. That's who I probably would have slotted in there. They could go for something like a Drogos, perhaps, at this point, but Torvald's got very little that he wants to bubble for consistent damage. Shaolin, I don't think... Ooh, baby, there's the Eevee. We've only seen this, I believe, once before.
I was expecting the Ruckus, in all honesty. If Kanga were going to go sort of with a pretty secure lineup. And
oh, baby.
Ruckus does a very good job at taking down Torvald, especially on a map like Serpent Beach. But the Eevee, I like it. Androxus, though, that's another
I like it better.
Rarer pick. And Andro, if they hit the shots on the Eevee, Eevee's only got 1,800 base health.
This is something, personally, I just wasn't thinking about. We've seen it only once before in one of our console sets yesterday, yet to be pulled out. I believe on the PC.
On
no,
Jag
did Peridot
Falls,
pull it out? I could have
yes,
swore
Peridot pulled it out on Stone Keep. We've seen it on Stone Keep and Jag Falls so far. Nobody's taken the Godslayer onto this map of Serpent Beach, where for so long it was very much their home. There's the verticality elements. You can never step in any direction.
I think this is easily the play for China Honor. He brings verticality, he brings assassination potential, and something that's going to force Kanga to look a different direction. They've only had to shoot at clumps of players right now against China Honor, and the ability for Androxus just to force somebody to turn their head. Hopefully 2 people will turn their heads, and it also gives something to be enabled by Torvald's field study protection bubbles.
Especially considering that it's the Darkstalker legendary of choice for Mikasa. That is a combination that I think we have seen before as well. Not at this LAN, but in times gone past. Josh Kent setting up on Eevee is ready. The initial itemization, heavy anti-heal for China Honor. Josh Kent going for the rejuvenate and the resilience here, the budget buy to start off with.
Just doesn't want to be picked off by the Torvald silence. That's Eevee's biggest threat as she heads to the back line. Wormhole up, soar around. Josh Kent finds 3, 4, 5 shots already, looking for first blood.
Was that it is a wormhole Eevee, isn't it?
It is.
That's a lot of damage coming at her right now. I think she was enabled maybe by the Genos as well, because it was looking like it was swinging over the moon, but Josh Kent cleans up Mao Mao. You can see the frag continue. Eevee has been silenced. Torvald staggered for a second. Josh Kent with a double kill. And Kanga Esports, unsurprisingly at this point, are back in control, 40% and rising.
So the Luminary Genos, of course, providing that damage amp to Josh Kent's Eevee. An easy way to tell when this is happening is if you look by Josh Kent's health bar, you see that little icon from Eevee pop up. You see the plus 300 when she wormholes back. Hopefully he doesn't die here, Dirty Feeder, and he will. Just for the purpose of this example, though, you'll see the Genos icon right there. And you see the heal ticking out. That means they're enabled. That means they're receiving healing from Genos, and that means their damage is increased by 15%.
Great little bit of UI trickery there, and you can find that under your game settings. But DiGeDoG takes the high ground here. Grumpy Bomb for a bit of zone. Might be looking to trap this Fernando out. Has perfect positioning to rain down bombs on everybody below. Double stick onto Androxus. Nobody survives that, and I don't even think they'll be forced away by Fernando here. DiGeDoG is just happy to box out as Josh Kent comes to the rescue, and Mao Mao goes down.
Talking about turning heads there, Mao Mao exposes the back of his skull to DiGeDoG, and with great enthusiasm, he will find the final shot. Josh Kent waiting in the wings. This looks like a Fnatic composition, to be quite honest with you. Kanga Esports showing that they can run pretty much everything that Europe has shown this tournament in terms of overall overarching compositions and approaches to the game as a whole.
1 minute, 35 seconds left on the clock. The payload is passing the 80% mark right now. Nobody around to contest. China Honor might have one last shot to defend. They are mounted up, but no. They're going to stay in base and wait. That one's going through for free. Kanga Esports 2-0 in just under 3 minutes.
Into round number 2 we go. Kanga not forced to use any ultimates there. They've got just one that is actually not ready to go at a moment's notice. DiGeDoG with the whip and his first blood, a double kill across the map, beating Josh Kent to the punch. Makes it a nice 3K there. First time he's had this champion, one of his premier champions at that, one that he is known very well for, as he kind of brought it from the international scene, being the first international Bomb King to contend with those of North America and Europe.
And you can see from that play, especially why he's just developed a reputation for it. It's great sticky bomb positioning, great usage of traps as well as what I often associate with DiGeDoG.
And he'll head off to the next round, 7-0. Early time and space, attempts to just get a cheeky dismount or maybe even a pick onto China Honor, but they will find none of the sort.
Here comes King Bomb straight over the top. DiGeDoG looking for somebody beneath. Finds absolutely nobody. No, Torvald has been stunned out. Down goes the personal shield, and joshkent claims their life. Damage from range onto Maldamba as well. Though down goes Hanyuyu. Mikasa falls too. There's only Mao left, and the Fernando is caught a little bit out. No need to kill them just yet. Kanga Esports can stagger the death very well here.
Shield goes up. Nice Ice Storm from joshkent to cripple out Mao, preventing him from using his movement ability, though I don't know if it would have saved him. 78%. DiGeDoG finds another frag in the back line. Vox, that's going to be another Kanga payload.
96% ticks over. China Honor using the Tempest there, I think, just to try and keep some players alive. And Kanga Esports are playing mind games with them at this point. That's everywhere that they try and push through. They're in every single avenue, and they're taking 1v1s, 1v2s at this point. joshkent is always in the backline. Nobody has an angle on them because of the wormhole ability. And oh my goodness, the long-range shots on the Doge as well. It's just, Dodge is already shut down. What do you do here?
We'll go to the high ground. China Honor, at this point, momentum, expectation, it's all on Kanga's side. DiGeDoG's got great positioning to try and close this game out. This is the last stand for China Honor. The payload is rounding the final corner as we speak.
Mid-air animation comes through just again, keeping momentum in the favor of Kanga. Oh! Big Hyper Beam sends DiGeDoG off the map. 3 quick kills go to China Honor. We're starting to see a flicker of life. Will this be the beginning of a defense?
That's exactly what they needed now, using a couple of big ultimates there, but Kanga don't have anything left in the tank either. They don't have ultimates to get this kick started. All they really have is time.
Show me some good zoning now. If China Honor can maybe catch out joshkent, we need that ready and waiting with a Torvald silence, something to lock this EV down. They might have a chance. And she is caught in the ice block. She has been focused down. joshkent falls, and China Honor again are starting to frag.
They make it in on Doge. They've taken down 2 of the 3. Kronicx falls as well. Kanga starting to be met with some resilience. Did it take all of this? Could the reverse sweep dream be a reality?
It may very well be.
Boy, what a comeback that would be.
That would be an incredible comeback, but no, as joshkent executes Mikasa during their accursed arm there, Androxus has fallen with their ultimate and 1 member down. China Honor are fighting the 4v5 here. In comes Ice Storm, locking down Peter. Up to the air goes joshkent, blinking towards the backline, potentially here to follow up and chase down some kills. Grox surges with power. Immortal comes out. China Honor put their foot down and say no more. Kronicx falls, but Joelz answers back, and who will come out on top here?
The Dread Serpent. DiGeDoG, not much health to give in this engagement. He's doing his best. joshkent buzzing around, commanding the attention of the backline for China Honor, and it is the not 1, not 2, but 3 DPS champions that are keeping them on their toes.
It is just a tag team disaster from Kanga Esports right now. China Honor have lost all but 1 member. Mikasa falls down. Fernando will try and make it through, but a beautiful impasse wall does connect, and Kanga Esports close out the 3rd and final game of this set.
Absolutely dominant performance there, and what we were expecting, at least what I was expecting, to be quite honest with you out there. This is kind of the ragtag bunch of dudes that could get here from China versus one of the favorites maybe to win the tournament, my personal favorite that I want to see take this event, because if they don't, I mean, this China Dream Squad, when they get their full roster, they might be taking every land from there on out.
And I'm excited to see that as well. And it's one of the things which does continue. It's an unfortunate circumstance that so many players from international regions coming to, for example, the US or Europe may end up running into visa issues. But as esports grows, as the fans across the world recognize these players and these teams, we gain legitimacy. Very much hope for a scene one day where players will be able to travel globally and freely without restrictions, so they can have all
one
of
day
their
we
teams
can all hold
in place.
hands and play video games together.
Oh yeah, that's the dream.
That is the dream. Kanga Esports shaking hands, looking good, feeling good, losing a pretty convincing set against Ninjas in Pajamas, but showing that they have much left to give in this tournament.
I'm excited to see what they will be putting further on. They now advance through in the losers bracket as well. An interesting matchup coming on later today.
Yep, against Nocturnes as well, and this is a close one to call. Nocturnes have just looked good. They've just looked solid. Granted, Kanga Esports will probably be one of their toughest opponents, obviously going up against Virtus Pro in their second matchup. Getting pretty dominated there. That's to be expected, but they might just have a chance against Kanga.
So for the time being, once again, that will do it from your casting duo, Vox and Pretty Hair. Let's head back to Golden Boy and the Analyst to have them break down set number 2 of the day.
Thank you, gentlemen. And Kanga will get out the broomsticks and hit him with that clean sweep. China Honor will be going back home over the Pacific Ocean. Unfortunately for them, it was not to be here at the Paladins World Championship. Welcome back to the desk. I'm Golden Boy, along with Metapusher and Goremizer here. Not a lot to really talk about here in this game. No disrespect, of course, to the Chinese roster and China Honor, but Kanga Esports were playing so well. They executed everything to a T, and even things that were like a little bit more of a loftier pick, they made it work because you definitely saw that skill disparity there between these two teams, Core.
They played that like a team that is upset that they're in the bottom bracket and they are not going to risk getting eliminated. Like, they didn't want to give it a chance, and that just showed in their play. Like, they put the pedal down. They're going as fast as they can, and they wanted to end it. I mean, just clean sweeps every step of the way.
Yeah, I was really excited to see Josh on some of his famous picks, the Strix, the Eevee, things he was really known for, and he really made an impact. And I guess after that said, if they want to be called Kanga Honor, they've earned it.
they've earned the name. You were waiting for that one, weren't you? You wanted to take that one and make it your own.
It's a softball.
Hit it right out of the park, baby. I love it. Okay, so, I mean, that being said, Kanga now, they're going to be moving on, and they will face off against Nocturnes. And, I mean, that's huge. Like, Australia, Latin America, which, by the way, I think for Paladins, so cool. Because, typically in, like, other esports, right? Like, Latin America and Australia are usually on the come up here, but in Paladins, these regions are so prominent and have so much skill, and this game is going to be madness, Core.
And I think that's been happening, I mean, helping a lot with the PGS kind of going through the global series, allowing these teams like Nocturnes to get all of that experience, all of that practice, the one where before they were a prominent name, but now they've got a lot more under their belts. They've been able to get a lot more experience. Even though it wasn't all international experience, it was still something to make them come together as a team and build themselves up, which is making them a much more difficult team to go up against, I think, here for Kanga when they do.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this, this bounce back matchup. Both Kanga and Nocturnes took, a pretty hard 3-0 loss yesterday, and they're building this momentum through the losers bracket, and they can make a run.
Yeah, I am very excited for that game. That's going to be coming later on. For now, though, Kanga, they get that W. They move on in this competition. But let's send it over to the stage with an interview with the winning team.
Thank you so much, Golden Boy. I have team captain Haydz here, org owner too, right, of Kanga Esports. So a lot going for you there, especially against Honor. Of course, not so much the case yesterday, but that's past history. We're looking for the future. You guys have a good win here. What does that do for your confidence just moving forward through today alone?
Yeah, we know we can definitely beat any team here on a good day. I mean, all the top teams are extremely skilled, and we all take maps off each other. We've seen in previous tournaments and scrims. So hopefully with this win, we can just keep the momentum going, keep our drafts getting better and better, and yeah, continue the good progress.
Progress being key. Now, speaking of progress, we'll talk more individually. Back from Valencia, dating to now, we were looking at your guys' roster saying, all right, he's probably playing damage, he's probably playing support. Not really the case anymore. Kind of like how the conversation we have about G2, it's you're going to play frontline, and anybody else can flex onto whatever feels good. Tell me what that means as far as your ability to modify and adapt to drafts here specifically against some of these top teams.
Yeah, well, as you probably saw, the drafts have changed so much this recent couple patches. So even the supports are like DPS characters basically, and sometimes you need to have 3 or 4 supports in a single game. So when you're doing things like that, you can't have someone who's like only play support, because one day you might be on Genos, which is basically a DPS now.
Right, and we of course just saw how many different people can flex, and speaking of people flexing, joshkent pulling out the Eevee that last game. Really this entire 3-set series was a lot of flexibility. We've seen a number of different champions. Anybody in particular you're underwhelmed with or overwhelmed with when it comes to being a champion specific?
Not sure what you mean by that, really.
So like the Eevee coming out, not really a viable pick. Is she something that you're trying to still test out? Are you finding her in favor?
Oh yeah, Eevee's a bit of an interesting one. Josh was just saying before how it still feels a bit off on LAN. Some characters become significantly better, almost like BK, because the lower ping means just things happen instantly. But Eevee still feels a little bit off. So yeah, I guess you kind of just decide that. Every LAN you'll see some other team pick something and you'll be like, oh, it's good today. Let's just start picking it.
And of course, next up, you guys will be going up against Nocturnes. You just saw them play previously. Thoughts about playing up against the Latin American juggernaut?
Yeah, we've actually gone up against them, I think, twice before at international events. And we've pulled through the win both times. So hopefully we can just do that again.
Well, that's what we'll be looking forward to. If you're a Kanga fan, of course, we'll be jumping over to the Group B side of things when we come back. So don't go anywhere to see who might be going home and who will survive one more round.
Used to do. No, you couldn't stand tall. So why didn't you call? So many years has gone by, but I think about you all the time. Looks like you're changing and all.